Welcome to the Influence and Abundance event. Woohoo! Woo! So this whole term is around the art of influence. In a nutshell, we've called it that instead of calling it sales because it's just sexier, wouldn't you agree? Yet at the same time, what we're really talking about is sales. So deal with that. Now, I'd like to start off by selling you something. So, I'd like to sell you this beautiful pen, and that's what it looks like, for only $5,000. Have a look, pass it around. It's stunning, isn't it? Oh, please pass it around. A bit faster. Yep. Only $5,000. Now, as it goes around, would you like one? Then give me the $5,000 and I'll give you one. Yep. Honestly, would you buy this pen right now for $5,000? No. But it's pretty. It's a pen. It writes. Pretty sure it writes. Yeah. Why not? What do you mean you wouldn't buy it for $5,000? Yes?
Because it's not in alignment with me.
It's not in alignment. Gosh,
it's not in alignment with me.
It's not in alignment with you. Let's just see if we can get it in alignment with you. Passing it on. Is there anybody in this room? Anyone? Law of averages. Someone should friggin' buy it. $5,000 a pen. Who's got too much money?
Is it a magic pen?
It's a pen. It's pretty.
It's too expensive.
Is that? Why is it too expensive, Alex? We need to give you the orange thing, or Dan will be upset with us. Alex, why is it too expensive?
Why? I just don't see why that one's any different from all the other pens that I have.
Well, it's pretty. It's attractive.
I don't see the value.
You don't see the value. Love it. Thank you very much. Love it. Thank you. So, let's see. Let's see if we can find the value. I'm going to tell you a story. Just sit down, because I feel like this is a storyteller's chair. Once upon a time, there was a couple, a man and a woman, who were in love and married, just so you know, they were legit, yep. And they dreamed of having a little son. And they dreamed of it so much, like it was their greatest desire to have a little son. And so they took the action necessary to make that happen. And the lady got pregnant, and they were so happy, and they told everyone in the village, and they talked to the little baby, going, oh, and they called it little John. And they were so excited for John to come out. And then when John came out, John didn't have a winky. John had a vagina. And they were very, very disappointed. So they called the baby Joe, dressed it in blue, and pretended it was a boy. Well, Joe grew up and didn't feel very loved or appreciated or wanted. She grew to really not like the colour blue, as you can imagine. Now, what happened was Joe's mother passed away, which was really sad. The father ended up running off with his secretary, and Joe, at a young age, was kind of left familyless and thinking the world sucks a little bit. Now, Joe also met someone, got married, and they had a baby. And guess what? Joe decided that she would love this baby no matter what sex it was. And lo and behold, this one also didn't have a winky, and she called it Jessica. Aww. And she loved Jessica so much. However, her husband was a bit of a douche, so they got divorced. And she was a single mother. Now, she still to this day loves Jessica so much. And things weren't easy. She was a single mum, literally on welfare, the dole, benefits, whatever country you would like that translated into. She would literally starve to feed Jessica. She couldn't afford to feed them both. She was losing weight every week. Sometimes she wouldn't eat for 3 days just to make sure Jessica was fed. She borrowed money off her friends to pay rent. She was this close to being turfed out onto the streets. And every day, she would look up at the stars and ask for support and guidance and to be shown a way. One day, she was at this beautiful park just down the road from them. Delicious green grass, like emerald green, and oak trees surrounded this park. There were swings, a big field, and Jessica had this beautiful purple ball, and they used to go to the park and toss the ball and play ball with each other. Never did Joe show Jessica there was trouble. She was just so beautiful, resilient, holding space, never wavered, always knew somehow, believing somehow she'd get through all of this. And this is what happened. Little Jessica, she's like 4, right, isn't very good at throwing a ball. So she throws the ball and it goes way, way far left. And so, of course, Joe's got to go chase the ball. She chases the ball into a tree sort of nook, and she's trying to find it. It's amongst all these leaves, and as she's digging, she finds a little bottle. The bottle literally looks like this. Can you guys all see that? And she's like, "Whoa, that's pretty." She picks it up, she takes it home, and she starts to hear a whisper. "Use me. I'm ink. Write a book with me, and it will touch millions." It's like, what the hell was that? Thinking, okay, I must be delusional because I haven't eaten in 3 days. She goes to sleep. She wakes up at like 4 a.m. "Use me. You'll touch millions of lives with what you write." It's like, all right, fine. She grabs the bottle, she opens the cork, and sure enough, guess what's in there? Ink. Yep. And so she gets a pen, she fills it with this ink, goes back to sleep, it's 4 a.m, and says, okay, cool, I'll deal with that tomorrow, because come on, 4, let's be reasonable. She's got a kid, she's got to be awake. So she goes back to sleep, she wakes up the next day, she plays with little Jessica, she nurses Jessica to sleep for a nap, she grabs the pen and the ink, and she starts writing. And I kid you not, the most delicious story is writing itself. She can't stop. It's like, there's a little boy, and he had a scar on his head, and he lived in a cupboard, and he went to Hogwarts, this school, and he had a friend called Hermione and Ron, and there was this stone called the Philosopher. I'll call this the Philosopher. She's writing and writing and writing. She literally writes this book in such a short period of time, thinking, whoa, incredible. She wrote a book called The Philosopher's Stone. Harry Potter, The Philosopher's Stone. Has anyone here heard it? Of it? Yep. Shocking. And then she heard a voice say, "This will touch millions. You just need to get it published." And so she sent off the manuscript. She was a nobody, hungry, frail, looked a bit straight home like homeless, Publishing house after publishing house, didn't even look at it. And she's thinking, I don't understand. Looking up at the stars, I don't understand. Surely, why would you give me this ink? Why would you have me write this book? If this is how it's meant to end. Why? Why can't... And she's day 4 of not eating. She's now literally having 1 meal of peanuts every 4 days just so she can feed Jessica. Her landlord's literally about to kick her out. She's thinking how, like, there's got to be a way. And then she hears a voice that says, go back to the park. So she goes back to the park, go back to the tree. She goes back to the tree, and under the tree is the most beautiful bird you'd ever seen. I actually, like, when it was described to me, I went on Google to try and find it, and I don't think it's of this world. It's a black phoenix with gold-tipped feathers. Phenomenal, magical. And so she's there, and there's this, like, magical bird. She looks at it, freaks out a little bit, because, you know, like this big, weird bird. And then the bird shakes. And 5 feathers get released. 5 feathers get released. Then they're lying on the ground, and the bird just burns up, lights up in ashes, and just disappears and just burns right in front of her. And she's like, what the crap just happened? She grabs the 5 feathers, takes them home, places them next to her book, goes, what am I meant to do with this? And she hears the voice again. Add this to your pen. Add this to your pen. And so she adds the feather to the top of her pen that holds the ink. The whole room gets filled up with this amazing light. Like, it was so bright, yet it wasn't blinding. It was soothing on the eyes somehow. And it made her feel peace and some form of, like, just inner knowing that everything is going to be okay. She grabs the pen, she grabs the book. She goes over the book and does little final edits, little tweaks here and there. And with each time that she writes in the book, the letters appear as gold and then disappear. Brilliant. And then she gets to the end and all the tweaks are done. She goes to sleep. She sleeps so deeply and soundly. Oh, when she wakes up, you know those mornings where you feel so alive. You feel so recharged and connected. You just know it's going to be your day. You know those days? That's how she wakes up. She takes the book and she takes it to one specific publishing house that just calls to her this morning and says, I need to talk to you. Let me tell you what's inside this book. And the energy, the transfer of enthusiasm that she emits out is unstoppable. Let me tell you what's in this book. I promise you, give me 2 minutes and you won't regret it. And then the person says yes. And she says, well, this is about a little boy with a scar on his head who grew up in a cupboard. And I have vision for another 5 of these. And then he's going to go here and he's going to have a chamber that he goes through and he's going to fight this serpent. And then he's going to go into this cup and he's going to go in and he's going to... And she's like telling them all these tales of what this little boy with a scar is going to do over the series. As you can imagine, he didn't just give her 2 minutes. He gave her a couple of hours and signed her on the spot. She went home knowing she could eat that day, knowing her and Jessica would be okay. This woman is called JK Rowling. She was penniless. She was heavily depressed until she came across this amazing ink. Now, ladies and gentlemen, she's a billionaire. Absolutely magnificent. She's touched the lives of millions of people all over the world. And she'll still tell you one of her favourite moments was at her very first book signing. She was there, waiting for the people to arrive, wondering if they even would. And all of a sudden, thousands of people queued up. She literally signed 2,000 books. Can you believe that? Oh, your hand, right? It's okay, she had this pen. This pen, enables you to literally write without ever getting sore. It's like it gives your hand extra energy in life. And they didn't stop signing because the people ran out. They stopped signing because the place shut. It was like after hours. It was time to go home. Otherwise, she would have kept signing. That's how good this pen, how amazing it is. And all the books that she signed went out to the world, and people shared them with their friends and bought them as Christmas presents. Then they made movies about these books, which also made a killing, even though they were kind of low budgety at the beginning. Extraordinary. Joan kept one of these pens. She gave another one to a friend of hers called Stephanie Meyer, who wrote the Twilight books. And then she gave me the last 3. We've literally got the very last 3 of these here today at this event. Where's the pen? There it is. This is the exact feather released. Whoopsie. This is the exact feather released by the magical bird. This is the exact ink from the little bottle. It'll assist you to channel the best copywriting, ad campaigns, funnels. Anything you do with this pen is going to channel genius through it and have millions be impacted. Pretty cool, huh? So tell me, who would buy this pen for $5,000? Alex, what happened? Does Alex see the value? I love it. Now, on top of that, you actually don't even need to pay the $5,000 until you make your first $1 million. Once you clock your first $1 million with this pen, then you pay me the $5,000. Who wants this pen?